Uh, the next part is, how do we take inventory of our mental health? So, I have recommended that you get a large journal. So, with that large journal, you are going to keep track daily over the emotions you struggle with. So, anxiety and depression are my two examples. And so you take that and so on there you put anxiety and then rate, put 1 through 10 and just, note it out. And then find a number where you're like, if I hit this, I need to phone it in, meaning you need support. So when something happens, and every day something may not happen, and that's good, and I'll get to that further. But if something happens, note what happened, what time happened, and how long did it last. What did you do to help? Did that solve that? And this is just keeping track and knowing like things that are triggering for you. And so if something worked, then in the back of your journal, tab it out, and then you can mark down everything that that has helped you. So that way, when you go through that, like that becomes your resource, that that these things actually do help you get out of an anxiety or out of depression. So it's process of elimination of trying different methods and seeing which ones work well for you, and that way you can go back to it. And then at the end of the week, write down all the things that bothered you, and contrast each one of those and what did work for you. So you're kind of tracking your emotions. So you're finding out what's problematic, what needs to be eliminated, and then when something happens, and it's bad, or you're feeling anxiety, or you're feeling depression, it almost seems like it's just doom and gloom the entire day, but it's a moment, and it's fleeting. And so I think if you are able to go back and look at your journal, you will find that, and I have gone through this before my stroke. I have gone through this. So, when something bad happens, it's like everything is bad. Everything is bad. And you're just like, angry and blah, 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 blah. But if you were to go back, you're like, wow, I had actually really great days. And actually, this bad moment was only like 20 to 30 minutes, and then I felt fine. And so once you start tracking that, then you feel like you got a sense of control more on your emotions, and you're just not focused on that one bad thing that happened. And you're like, hey, I was able to work through it. So it's just giving you power. It's inventory. It's making you look at things and be like, okay, this is working, and you know, this bad day did not, or this bad moment did not ruin my day. And if it did ruin my day, it was just one day, because guess what? The next day was better. So that's what the point of the inventory is on the journal, because I found myself going through that slippery slope where I was just, something bad happened and I was just really going off like, this just like sucks. Like everything sucks. This is, now I'm talking about after my stroke. Um, and it was just like doom and gloom, and and I went to that dark side. I was just like, I just wish the stroke would have taken me, because something bad happened, and that's not the right way to think about things. So I had to start doing inventory and be like, you know what, I actually had pretty good days, so why did I let that one thing control me? And what did I do to snap out of it? And it worked. And I'm telling you, it makes you handle things so much better when you're able to see it on paper. That, it's visual, it's on paper. You can go back and see and be like, okay, that's great, I had better days. So and then, as I said before, I always say, I'm not a professional. So when I say phone it in, I am talking about right here a psychiatrist, psychologist, and therapist, and here it defines what each one of them do. So, the psychiatrist, they talk through methods, but sometimes you need medications to kind of stabilize you. Sometimes it's long term, sometimes it's not. It's just to even out your emotions, so that way you're equipped to handle them. And then, psychologists and therapists are, there to help come up with methods that, um, work for you. And, depending on how you respond, or, how they assess, they're going to think about, what is the best form of therapy for you. So, one of the big ones is cognitive behavior therapy. And I've mentioned this many times before, but I truly believe it does work. And, it's just kind of like what you think is going on and then reality. And it's like, you've got to learn how to like merge. So you can't just be way out there and way out there. Like, it's, you got to merge. So, but they are your best line of defense. So I highly suggest that you connect with someone and not try this on your own. Like I said, my suggestions are in coordination of seeking professional help. Or if you feel like, you've already done professional help, but you just want, some extra suggestions, that's what I'm doing. But that is your first line of defense, is those three. So, and, I have found it super beneficial. So, because I can vent, I can say things, no judgment, so it's pretty good to work with professionals. So the next part is, I have mentioned this before, and I'm going to mention it again because I really think this is just probably the best analogy that I can think of about how we approach mental health. And that is, every morning you start off with a fresh balloon. And as the day goes on, there's certain situations, and you're blowing air into that balloon with each situation that happens. And sometimes, if you don't know how to handle it, you get to the point where it's so big that it pops. And then you are left trying to pick up all the pieces of your emotions and figuring out what to do. So the point is that you got to learn how, when you start with your fresh balloon and you're blowing air in it, that you're like slowly releasing the air. And that's by doing techniques that that are helping you, so that way you're not letting that balloon explode. So, but overall, it's just like mental health awareness. It basically, it's a Ferris wheel that you can't get off, or a roller coaster you're stuck on, that you're just going up, down, up, down, up, down. So, it's just really, it's exhausting. It really is. So I've kind of explained, some stuff. Oh, I did forget to suggest, because like I said, senses, like I keep like bottles of like smells that I like, and I spray it around, because the smells that I buy are something that remind me of my childhood, that makes me happy. So it brings back happy memories. So I usually try to select a smell that like triggers like that memory of something happy. And the other thing, which my husband probably will kill me for, is that I buy like a million candles and light them, because again, it's the smells. So I am like, I love candles. I can't help it. Like, I like the candles burning, the smell. I'm very like smells. That's like my number one thing to make me happy. So, but anyways, I've explained that. So I'm going to talk about my own like kind of struggle that I'm going through currently right now. So I'm circling right now through my grief cycle. So I was, kind of up, and I, kind of was in a funk for a while. And then, we went to Arizona, and then I felt like on top of the world, and we came back, and I, felt okay, and had a lot of things going on at work that I had to get done. And it was just frustrating. And if you go back to my other video blogs, you will see like the frustrations that I went through. And so, I just went through like all these phases of a funk, like just where I just didn't, I'm not sleeping. I like the post-traumatic stress disorder started getting really, really loud. And it's really hard to go to sleep, because when I sleep, I'm like reliving my scenario that happened, where like I got up and felt the snap, and like it's almost like I physically can feel that snap again, the pain, crawling to the bathroom and vomiting. But I have the paramedics over me, like pronouncing me dead, and this is every night, and it grows loud and loud. And then, it went away, and I started feeling better, and I was like, that's great. And now it's back, and it's getting dark, very dark. And it is so exhausting, guys, so exhausting. I can't. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to sleep because I'm scared to death to sleep, because I just don't want to go through that. But I've learned lucid dreaming, which is very hard. And, there's sometimes where I can get out of it, where I wake up in that dream and then I reset it and, I'm going through another thing. But then there's other dreams where it's like I'm at war, like I'm fighting. It's almost like I am in a constant thriller, war movie, you name it. It is like I'm trying to save my life. It is just awful. So it's taxing. I'm not getting enough sleep. I have these vivid nightmares that are just crushing me. And and then I'm working, and then certain things get to me, and I'm not handling it like I should, and I'm getting frustrated with myself, and there's just other things floating out that have just kind of brought me into this really bad funk. And I'm like, what do I do to get out of this? And I'm like, well, I have like a full thing of stuff to do to get out of it. And that's the thing. You have to be willing to say, okay, we're not in a good space. So I phoned it in, made an appointment with the doctor, and you know what? Start doing your stuff that you preach. Practice what you preach. So I am doing things to help get me out of that funk. And it's a little hard right now because, it's like we're in that rainy, gloomy type thing. So that's a little depressing. And, I thrive with sun and heat. And if it wants to be cloudy, like if it could be like hot and cloudy with like thunder, like I'd be okay with that. But there's a lot of different things going on. And so where I normally could probably problem solve and figure it out because of my stroke, it's a little hard to put the pieces together. And because you can't tell that I had a stroke, people tend to forget that and say the wrong thing to me, and don't understand. And I don't want to say like, you have to bear with me. I had, like, you don't want to play the stroke card, like, where like I had a stroke, like, give me a few minutes, or I am going through more of an emotional journey every single day. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So currently right now, my headspace is kind of floating around of like up, down, up, down, up, down. And like I said, it feels like I'm bipolar, but I'm not. It's just that, like, there are good days and then there's bad days. But my biggest issue right now is these nightmares, like, and it's that post-traumatic stress disorder. And I just don't know how to get out of that. And I don't know if anyone else goes through that, where they relive it every single night. But that in itself is like so traumatic. It is so traumatic. And you fight and you do everything and you survive and all this progress you make, and it's like almost like it's erased because you have to relive it every night, but you're dead. So that's the one thing I'm stuck on, guys. Like, I am stuck on that. I've made great progress everywhere else. I really have, and I commend myself for that. And I'm happy that I'm not ashamed to share my mental health journey, and that's why I hope I inspire other people to not feel ashamed about their mental health. And if you need help, don't be ashamed. Go get help, please. And don't feel guilty, and don't think because you're having a bad day that is just the end all of end all. It's not. You get do-overs every day. It's a do-over. It's a clean slate. Clean slate. That's the way you gotta look at life. It's a clean slate. Do-over. You do what you need to do. It didn't work out. Guess what? You got another day. Clean slate. Do it over again. So, that's the best thing. The best advice I can say is, mental health for some reason is so taboo and just not tapped into, and no one wants to really talk about it and admit it because it makes them a perception of being weak. And really, when you admit to it, you're really actually a very strong person to admit something, because you're kind of being a coward if you are suppressing these feelings. So admitting something and seeking that's brave, and you should be proud of yourself. So mental health awareness is very important because, like I said, it's the genetic makeup of how you perceive life. So if you want to perceive life in a good light, which we all should, because life can be taken quick, who knows. But if you want to perceive life in a good light, then you have to do things to get you on track. And there's so many resources out there for you, so much out there, and it's just not tapped into. So, and it's really no one's business about what you're going through, and if you're getting help, who cares? It's no one's business. If you feel a certain way and you want to go seek help, and then go do it, and no one needs to know. And if you do certain things, whatever, like, you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you're feeling or your emotions. You do not owe anyone that, because they don't own you. You own your own emotions. And so once you take ownership of your emotions, then you do something about it, because life is short, and it is much better when you have found resources and tools that help you when you get stuck or something is loud or something's going on. So hopefully all this information helps you. I'm sorry this went on for a while. It's something that is really near and dear to my heart, because I've seen it with a lot of people where they are kind of in a stuck motion, and I can't push people to do something that they don't want to do. So all I can say is that you can do it though. So anyways, be proud of yourself. You're a warrior. You got through a stroke. that is like a huge battle in itself. And if you're watching this and didn't have a stroke or went through medical trauma or loss of some, or whatever, you're a warrior, and warriors don't give up. So do not surrender to an emotional downfall. Do stuff. Trust me. Do stuff. And a lot of it's fun. So anyways, I hope that this was beneficial, and I will be doing a blog next, which is gonna be upbeat, about finding your light, because not everything in life is so flustered, there's light. So I figured I needed to put a piece of that in there. So I will have that sometime soon. Life gets in the way, so I should have that done by next week, I hope. So, but I appreciate anyone that's watching this, and I'm there for you, and I hope this helped, and I really do wish you all the happiness in the world, because you absolutely deserve it. So have a good night. It's almost night, and I'm still drinking coffee. Not good. Not good. So anyways, I'm gonna lay with my dogs and get some animal therapy. So, but I will talk to you guys later.